The movie opens with the introduction of the main characters, two brothers named Pedro and Jimmy, whose lives are about to take an unexpected and terrifying turn. The story unfolds with a startling event. An eerie, unnerving sound emerges from the woods near their home. This alarming occurrence is enough to pique the curiosity and concern of the brothers, compelling them to take action. As dawn breaks the following day, Pedro and Jimmy, armed with courage and a sense of adventure, venture into the mysterious woods. They are determined to uncover the source of the strange sound and to explore the secrets that the woods might hold. However, their exploration quickly turns into a nightmarish experience. The brothers stumble upon a horrifying and gruesome scene, the mutilated remains of a man. This discovery is not just macabre but also puzzling, raising more questions than answers. Amid the chaos of the scene, Jimmy's attention is drawn to various objects scattered around the area. These items, seemingly out of place, hint at a story yet to be understood. While Jimmy examines these objects, Pedro makes another significant discovery: a map, cleverly hidden inside a bag. The map suggests that the deceased man was taking a shortcut, perhaps in haste, or with a purpose that was cut short by his untimely death. Adding to the complexity of the situation, the brothers find a copy of Maria's ID among the belongings. This discovery links the dead man to Maria, a character who is yet to be introduced but already appears to be central to the unfolding mystery. The map and the ID together paint a picture of a journey interrupted, a destination unmet, and a connection to Maria deepening the intrigue. Determined to uncover more, Pedro and Jimmy promptly visit Maria. Jimmy inquires if she heard the gunshots the previous night. Pedro shares their grim discovery in the woods and questions her about expecting someone who, tragically, will never arrive. Maria's response is heavy with implication. She was indeed expecting the man, as he was meant to assist with a troubling situation involving her son, Uriel. Upon entering the room to see Uriel, Pedro is confronted with a shocking sight. Uriel's condition is far worse than he could have imagined. Uriel's brother reveals a dark secret. Uriel is possessed and has been deteriorating for some time. Maria, overwhelmed with guilt, mentions that she thought prayer would be enough to save him. Pedro, consumed by anger, denounces the impotence of the churches in such matters. Uriel's brother adds to the conversation, sharing their fear of eviction by Ruiz and other neighbors. Frustrated and desperate for help, the brothers head to the police station. However, they are met with indifference. The superintendent dismisses the idea of possession as irrelevant to their duties. Infuriated, Pedro reveals their discovery of the exorcist's dismembered body. The superintendent remains unmoved, citing protocol and showing no interest in taking action. The plot thickens as Pedro and Jimmy meet with Ruiz. They inform him of the situation, including the inaction of the police and the mayor. Uriel adds a disturbing piece of information: his 4 dogs have been missing for a month. It becomes increasingly clear that the mysterious presence in the woods affects not only humans but animals and the deceased as well. The plot thickens as Pedro suggests a drastic measure: selling their belongings and leaving the area before the situation escalates. Uriel, however, believes that their condition is a deliberate setup by the state, coveting his land and thus abandoning them to their fate. That night, an infuriated Ruiz confronts Maria at her house, aiming to shoot Uriel. Maria implores him not to go to such violent means, warning that it would only allow evil to take over their bodies and souls. She insists that dealing with such malevolence requires a professional touch. In a disturbing twist, Uriel provokes Ruiz with a chilling revelation about the life growing inside his wife, Jimena. The next day, Jimena, accompanied by Pedro and Jimmy, arrives on the scene. Despite Pedro's urging to leave, Ruiz is adamant that Uriel must be removed from the area, insisting on handling the matter alone to prevent further corruption of his land. Pedro and Jimmy, recognizing the gravity of the situation, decide to assist Ruiz. In an attempt to transport Uriel, they face a daunting challenge. Uriel's condition makes him too heavy to move easily, and he falls to the ground during their initial efforts. Eventually, they manage to wrap him in a blanket, load him into a truck, and set off. Now far from their village, the group debates the distance they should cover to ensure safety. In a nerve-wracking moment, Ruiz narrowly avoids hitting a young boy on the road. When they finally stop to leave Uriel, they are horrified to find he is no longer in the truck, speculating he might have fallen out earlier. Despite Pedro's suggestion to search for Uriel, Ruiz declares the incident over and washes his hands of the matter. The next morning brings more distress as Jimena discovers one of their goats possessed. Ruiz, determined to end the threat, ignores Jimena's pleas and shoots the goat. In a shocking turn of events, Jimena confronts Ruiz with an axe, leading to his tragic death, followed by her own. That evening, Uriel's brother brings grim news to Jimmy and Pedro. Ruiz and Jimena are dead, and his mother is missing. Feeling guilty for taking Uriel away, he requests refuge with them. Although Pedro agrees to let him stay in the saddle room, Jimmy remains wary. They disarm him and instruct him to leave at sunrise, never to return. Before leaving, he warns them against using electric lights, as its shadows attract evil. The next morning, the brothers decide it's time to flee the town with their family. Pedro visits his ex-wife Sabrina, while Jimmy goes to his family. At Sabrina's house, Pedro is met with suspicion and urgency. He tries to convince them of the danger in town and sets his clothes on fire as a dramatic gesture. However, Sabrina doubts his intentions, thinking he's there to upset her. The situation escalates when the family dog attacks Leonardo and Sabrina's daughter, Vicky. Pedro and Leonardo attempt to chase the dog, but their efforts are unsuccessful. When Pedro warns Leonardo against using firearms, fearing the presence of a demon rather than a dog, Leonardo ignores him and fatally shoots the dog. Upon Pedro's return, he's relieved to find Vicky unharmed, but is alarmed when she reveals that her father plans to harm Sabrina. The tension escalates as Pedro makes a bold move by secretly taking Sabrina's car. As he drives away, he witnesses a shocking scene, Leonardo crashing his car into Sabrina. Despite the chaos, Pedro continues his journey, leaving behind a disoriented Leonardo who, upon regaining consciousness, is met with the eerie sight of his daughter Vicky dancing in a bizarre and unsettling manner. After picking up Jimmy and their mother, the family embarks on a tense journey away from the town. During their travel, Jimmy seeks insight from their mother about encounters with the possessed. She skeptically dismisses their concerns, believing they are overreacting. The conversation turns to educating young Santino about possession, where she explains that a possessed person is essentially a vessel for an evil entity's birth. She then outlines 7 crucial rules to follow in the presence of the possessed, including avoiding electric lights, staying away from animals, not taking objects associated with them, refraining from harming them, and notably, never naming the evil or using firearms against them. In an unexpected twist, Sabrina, presumed dead, calls Pedro's mother's phone, expressing a desire to take back her children. Pedro is bewildered, firmly believing that he had witnessed Sabrina's death. He dismisses the call, doubting its authenticity, and struggles with guilt and uncertainty over his decisions. Jimmy offers reassurance, mindful of the impact their actions may have on the children. Upon reaching their destination, they meet Mirta, who offers them shelter despite the lack of electricity. Pedro is determined to head to the city, but Jimmy suggests they rest first. Jimmy inquires Mirta if she has encountered true possession. He shares his own doubts about what they have witnessed. That night, as everyone settles in Mirta's house, an unsettling event unfolds. Sabrina arrives, intent on taking Santino with her. She claims she wants to keep her children safe. Jimmy and Pedro's mother, witnessing the scene, believe they've seen Sabrina, but it's unclear who is actually with Santino. Pedro discovers Santino in Sabrina's arms, but she suddenly jumps off the balcony and disappears. Jimmy and Mirta reveal a disturbing revelation. The demon might be inside Jair. Mirta explains how in autistic individuals, a demon may become trapped in a state of limbo, eventually leading to possession. Pedro, upon returning, learns another rule from Mirta, not to fear death. She warns him that his fear empowers the demon. They must find and eliminate the possessed to prevent the birth of the beast. Despite believing the possessed is already dead, Mirta insists that they are witnessing the birth process and must act swiftly to abort it. As the film progresses, Jimmy pursues Sabrina, while Mirta and Pedro embark on a mission to find Uriel, hoping to end the demonic threat. As the characters navigate a dark and uncertain path to confront the evil that lurks within and around them, the narrative deepens as Mirta reveals the heavy burden she's carried for 12 years, taking responsibility for the harm caused by her and her husband's deceitful practices. The dangerous consequences of their actions become evident as ambushes increase, leading to the exorcist's death and enveloping their lives in secrecy. Mirta's turning point comes when her husband fails to return from a cleaning mission, prompting her to flee the town with the conviction that escaping evil is the only viable option. Pedro, grappling with the horror unfolding around him, questions Mirta about why the evil entity chose his son over her. Mirta's response is unsettling yet insightful. It targeted him because of his fear. Meanwhile, Jimmy encounters a horrifying scene on the road. Sabrina, believed to be dead, has committed an unspeakable act against Santino. In a blind rage, Jimmy runs her over but crashes into a tree. Pedro, meanwhile, resolves to continue their journey on foot. Mirta suspects the evil presence is at the rural school, drawn to the innocence of children. Soon after, Jimmy regains consciousness and finds Sabrina still alive, Elsewhere, the grandmother is startled to see Yair walking and speaking normally, a stark contrast to his usual behavior. At the school, Pedro and Mirta face an alarming discovery. The children inside are possessed. Mirta, facing a situation unlike any she's encountered before, admits her uncertainty in handling it. Their situation worsens when a boy indicates Uriel's location, leading them into what Mirta fears could be a trap. In a chaotic turn, Pedro confronts a girl who provides conflicting information about Uriel's whereabouts. Mirta, however, deduces that the children are trying to mislead them. They stumble upon two lifeless bodies, leading to a horrifying realization. These are not mere children anymore. Pedro's attempt to rescue Uriel turns into a desperate struggle as he dismantles the stage to reach him. As Mirta prepares to use specialized equipment to end Uriel's suffering, Pedro falls into a trap set by the children, leaving Mirta vulnerable to their attack. Emerging from the trap, Pedro finds Mirta gone and the equipment destroyed. In a moment of desperation and rage, he ends Uriel's life with a broken piece of equipment. But it's too late. The demon within Uriel is born, confronting a defeated Pedro before departing with the children. The movie reaches its climax in a deeply tragic and harrowing conclusion. Jimmy, Pedro, and Yair, after enduring a series of terrifying and supernatural encounters, make their way back home, seeking comfort and safety. However, any hope for a peaceful return is quickly shattered. They are confronted with a new reality. Uriel's brother, who has been possessed by an evil force, makes a chilling confession. He reveals that he has committed two heinous acts: the murder of the original exorcist, who was supposed to rid him of the demonic presence, and even more devastatingly, the killing of their own mother. The movie ends in a profoundly emotional and gut-wrenching scene. Pedro, overwhelmed by the magnitude of his loss and the horrors he has witnessed, collapses in grief. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.